Welcome back to Awful Stories. It's Matt here, and make sure to drop a like and subscribe to not miss your daily fix on Reddit stories. Let's jump into our first post in the confession subreddit. The post is titled, I was diagnosed with schizophrenia and haven't told anyone. I'm 23M. This year, after nearly 2 decades of hallucinations, I was diagnosed with schizophrenia. I probably shouldn't be terrified, given that I've made it this long without medication or mental support, but I am. It feels like I'm finally being forced to confront and define what I've been dealing with my whole life. I've had hallucinations for as long as I can remember. Starting when I was about 6, give or take, I began having frequent, extremely vivid hallucinations involving relatives dying, sea animals swimming around my bedroom, being watched by cameras at night, fires, paranormal creatures. Most of the typical things and some very strange ones. I remember being so confused and terrified as a kid, especially by the sea animals. They were my most common at the time, and everyone around me being equally confused about why I was freaking out. Growing up, I was never taken to a psychiatrist or had anyone address it, since my parents didn't believe in mental health. When I was a teenager, they got better for a while. Less frequent, maybe 3 major hallucinations a year. Around this time, they changed into things like my face being distorted or demonized in mirrors, car crashes, and screaming. One instance of a cat torn open and scattered across my kitchen, and other paranormal animals. They didn't bother me much then either, given how sporadic they were. It was around this time, though, that the paranoia began. It feels stupid to admit, but that's when I started having thoughts that people were watching me through windows, that I was being hunted, or that my pets were imposters who were going to kill me. I still hold a lot of those paranoid thoughts today. When I was 20, things improved again for a bit. 2 years with no major hallucinations, nothing lasting more than a few seconds. I still had the paranoid thoughts, but I thought that was something everyone experienced. And to an extent, I still do. Apparently not. 5 months ago, the hallucinations came back. Badly. I started having multiple a day, and I still do. They don't last more than a few hours now, but I can't turn my back in the kitchen without seeing someone running up behind me, and I can't look out my windows at night without seeing something there. 3 months ago, I finally gathered the courage to see a psychiatrist after I confided in someone, and they told me I needed to get help while I still recognized the hallucinations weren't real. Surprise, it's schizophrenia. I was shocked and wanted a second opinion, and honestly, I still do. It just doesn't make sense to me. When you hear schizophrenia, you think of someone completely unhinged and unable to function, but I function fine outside of my episodes. I'm in medical school, I have a job, and I successfully take care of my pets, even though they sometimes scare me. I've never been violent. I guess I just don't know what to make of it. I've started medication, and I think it's helping. I finally let my cat sleep in bed with me again tonight without being scared they'd kill me. I'm in regular therapy with a mental health improvement plan worked out. I guess I just didn't know where else to talk about this. I don't want anyone in my personal life knowing. It's humiliating. I know I need to tell people, especially for my safety, and I regret that I haven't and that I didn't seek help sooner. But telling people feels like signing away all my autonomy. People around me have noticed that I've been off, jumpy, and paranoid, but I just brush it off. Professionals are urging me to tell people, but I can't bring myself to do it. On the other hand, do you know how terrifying it is to have multiple 10 to 20-minute phone calls or conversations with people only to be told they never happened? I really wish there was a cure. Edit, please stop messaging me things like I'm watching you or you're actually in another dimension. OP raw dogging reality since he was 6 and still somehow holding his life together. The wild part is he did med school, work, pets, relationships, all while his brain was throwing horror movies at him on loop and everyone around him either ignored it or didn't believe in it. Now he gets a name for it, and instead of relief, he's hit with shame, and this stereotype of schizophrenic equals broken. But look at what's actually happening. He's still reality testing, still knows what's real versus not, still seeking help, and the meds are already shifting things enough that he can let his cats back on the bed. I see that as him wrestling control back from something that's been running his life in the background for years. The second story for today takes place in the relationship subreddit, titled Husband Told Me It's His House and That I Live at His Mercy. Yesterday, my husband and I had an argument during which he said something that completely shattered me. He told me that it's his house, that I live there at his mercy, and that I have no right to tell him what to do, all because I asked him to put his clothes in the laundry basket. Hearing that felt like a punch to the gut, especially after everything I've sacrificed to be with him. I gave up my career, left my family and friends, and moved to a foreign country I knew nothing about. Now I'm here without any real support system. He earns a very high salary, and although I also work remotely, I make much less and can't contribute financially in the same way. Since the argument, I've been extremely stressed, so much so that I've been physically sick and throwing up. For the first time, I truly regret the choices I made. He has been apologizing repeatedly, especially after seeing how badly this has affected me, and says he was overwhelmed at work and unfairly took it out on me. but I'm struggling to trust him or move past what he said. Before we got married, I was hesitant because it felt like such a huge risk, and he begged me to take that leap with him. Now I'm scared that what he said during that argument reflects what he really believes deep down. If that's truly how he sees me, I know I will leave. But the thought of returning to my home country and rebuilding my life from scratch is terrifying. I honestly don't know what to do. Inedible Orchid said, "You are still young. Starting again and rebuilding is better than living life at someone else's mercy." To this, Castile said, "My daughter moved overseas for a partner, where she is now more isolated and dependent. I always made it clear that if anything went wrong, she could come right back to my house and start over in a new direction. Rebuilding is not terrible. It's an adventure with growth potential. Life offers many opportunities to reinvent yourself before you're gone. This would only be one of them." This third and final story takes us to the AITA subreddit, titled AITA for being loud when my roommate has sex. I currently live in a student house with 3 other people. The downstairs room is connected to the kitchen and dining area, and the roommate who sleeps in that room specifically asked for it. Recently, he's been bringing his girlfriend around every single day. They've been together for a few years, but we've only just met her. They're constantly in the kitchen and in his bedroom with the door open, which makes it quite awkward to be in there at times. They have sex so loudly. Going downstairs has become a nightmare because we constantly have to listen to them going at it. They usually have sex in the middle of the day, the exact times people are in the kitchen making lunch or dinner. I've brought this up to him a few times, and he said that we never gave him any rules when he asked if he could bring her around. But obviously, we didn't expect to be hearing them having sex constantly. I asked him to play music or put the television on in the background while they were having sex, but he refused and said that he likes hearing his girlfriend during sex, so he wouldn't be doing that. To deal with this, every time we go into the kitchen and can hear them having sex, we've started playing music ourselves or putting on a TV show loudly to drown them out. He said he's not happy about this because it ruins the mood for him. I don't care that they're having sex. I just don't want to hear the bed banging, the moaning, and the conversations. It's annoying and makes it uncomfortable to be in my own house. Update. Sorry it's been so long, but I thought I'd give an update. Nothing really changed. We tried blasting music, being loud, letting them know we were cooking, literally asking them to stop. But they never did. They have slowed down with time, though. We decided to turn it into entertainment instead. We played ridiculous music, thank you for your suggestions, and did karaoke in the kitchen. We even invited friends over, not with the intent for them to listen, because we didn't want to put them through that. But if they did hear it, we made it into a bit of a joke. It was still pretty uncomfortable, but unfortunately, it's become the norm now. We're moving out in November, and the roommate is moving back home to London, so we won't have to deal with it much longer. Last week, we walked into the kitchen and saw his girlfriend wearing a huge strap on, but good for them, I suppose. They've finally learned to close the door, and we just kept cooking with our headphones on. Anyway, I'm moving out to live with a friend who's very respectful, and I'm excited to see where my life goes next. Thank you, everyone. Van Riel said, "How on earth does he think this is okay? We didn't give him any boundaries." I'm sorry, but what sort of idiot thinks you need to have a discussion about him having loud sex at midday near a communal area? If it were me, I'd start making things extra awkward, like bringing a conductor's baton and pretending to conduct them in time with the music you put on. Then again, I'm extremely petty and just watched The Secret of My Success, so that might have something to do with that idea.